What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Sports Moose, coming at you live right after the Lightning just cleaned it up. Gentleman's sweep of the Carolina Hurricanes, courtesy one victory allowed. And I'll have to say, kind of an unexpected win today. I thought Carolina was gonna. First of all, I thought Carolina would win tonight's game. I think they're a better team than what they looked like today. We'll look at some of the stats again, but if you remember from games 1 and 2, things were a little bit messy for the Bolts, or for Carolina, I should say, with 20 plus turnovers. That was the story again today, and we saw that. The Bolts getting a little sloppy too. We saw some periods of back and forth hockey, and really just, I'm surprised. I mean, pleasantly surprised, of course. It's always nice to get a couple extra days of rest. So you're going to take on the winner, a tough team, the winner of the Boston New York Islanders series. I think the Islanders looking to close it out tomorrow night, which again would be another surprise. Islanders, the 4 seed out of the East Division. Another 4 seed making it to the Final Four. The Montreal Canadiens sweeping the Winnipeg Jets. So they'll take the winner of what game that's going on right now, of course, Avs and Golden Knights. Let's talk about the Lightning game tonight. And what an absolute 60-minute effort for the most part. A disciplined game, commitment to defense and clearing out the zone. It was just incredible to watch. Really, we controlled the game. I mean, we dictated when Carolina had possession, other than a few power plays where they had a couple flurries of possession. Of course, the frantic 5 minutes at the end. But we still look cool, calm, and collected, which is what I really liked about the final 5 minutes. I mean, you have a team that's back against the wall, and they're going to come at you. We didn't make stupid plays. We didn't, we're smart. We got to the red line. We dumped the puck out. We put the right amount of weight on the puck, not to force icings. It's just great puck management. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The way the Lightning managed the puck, managed, kind of a tough call, I think, on Palat. I'm kind of concerned if that gets looked at. Palat, of course, not known to be a dirty player, but I believe has been suspended in the playoffs before. Kind of a shoulder to the head there. I'm sure it'll be looked at. Maybe a fine. Not sure if it's suspendable. Kind of a tough penalty there. You just knew once the Lightning got that 2-0 lead at the end of the second, you just knew there were going to be no more power plays in the favor for the Lightning. Shame, because I think Carolina knew that. A little bit of grabby hockey, really no other way they could equalize. I mean, there was that one possession, I think in the third period or maybe late in the second, where Braden Point literally skated around the zone twice, and he looked like he was on another speed plateau. Like Carolina was maybe at an 8, and Braden Point just skated circles around him. A couple other takeaways is the fourth line. Wow. We've kind of sprinkled in some compliments here and there. We're actually growing to like Tyler Johnson on the fourth line, and it seems like he's accepted his role on the fourth line. Him with Pat Maroon and Ross Colton, who, during the season, kind of a jumbled mess there, right? We tried Colton, we tried Barboulay, we tried a few other guys to fill that third and fourth line slot. And finally, it was Colton. Tough decision made, I think, with Matthew Joseph. And, I'm a Joseph fan. I've always wanted him to succeed. Kind of a tough season last year, and a rough go at it a little bit this year. Kind of a bounce back season for him. But Russ Colton, I think, is exactly what that line needed. We talked about how we were missing Paquette's physical presence. I think Colton brings a little bit more of a scoring finesse there. And you saw that with the second goal, glove side on Nedeljkovic. Fourth line could be the X factor here, especially as we get into a series against, whether it's Boston, New York, it's going to be a tough defensive series. They're both tough defensively. Of course, the right now Varlamov is actually playing pretty well for the Islanders. Uh, Solid goaltending, probably the best set of goaltending either team that we play that we're going to have. There's not going to be a question in goal, which I think might have cost the Hurricanes. I mean, I criticized that decision in Game 3, even with the Hurricanes winning Game 3. I didn't understand the call to go to Mrazek, and obviously that kind of came to bite them in Game number 4, where the wild, crazy game with the Bolts coming back, of course. Yeah. Looking at the chat, of course, congrats to me. Yes, new uncle. Congrats to my sister and her family. Child. Agree. I think we just took. You like how we started the game? Absolutely. I like how we played most of the game. It's a very. It's interesting. The Lightning, usually when they close it out, and I should have known that game. I probably would have put money on Game 6 for it to be a Vasi shutout, but the Bolts like to shut it down on those clinching games. Absolutely love to see it. As we usually do, let's jump into some of the stats. Of course, we talked about the giveaways, and no different. Ooh, other camera jumped off. Turn that one. There we go. To set that up. There we go. So here's the big number: 23 giveaways for the Hurricanes. Now, that's really what did them in. I think the Lightning coming, especially, I think the backbreaker was for sure on a giveaway. And even the no goal at the end of the second period on a giveaway. Of course, Lightning not innocent in that sense, with 12 of their own. But really, the big story, and we saw it, huge blocks, especially by Sergachev. McDonough, again in front of the puck, 22-13, so decisive advantage there. We were committed to defending high-scoring areas at all costs, and the stats show that. Lightning actually winning at the face-off circle makes such a big difference when you can get that slight edge in the face-off and have at least a little semblance of possession. And, of course, shots on goal pretty even, 29-25. Braden Point with an absolute filthy goal in the second period on the power play, of course. Kind of a puck that squirted into the slot. Was able to dipsy-do through a couple defenders. Top cheese. Pass to Deljovic. And, of course, Ross Colton off a turnover at the blue line. Unassisted goals. Third of the playoffs. Isn't that amazing? 3 goals for Colton. Low glove side. Just beating it. It's a great shot. That's where you got to aim for. Right above the pad, but right where the glove has to make a little bit of action to come down. And it was 2-0. That's all they needed. I mean, honestly, if they got that second, kind of think about it. I wonder if, you get that second goal at the end of the second period, Carolina probably comes out guns blazing even more than a 1-0 deficit. So it's kind of feel maybe fortunate that we didn't score that second goal. Not that I don't trust our defense to have shut it down, but just when you have a team back against the wall, sustaining 20 minutes of onslaught could have been a little bit difficult there. And of course, 2 goals, the most dangerous lead in hockey, and didn't want to give Carolina 20 minutes to crack that. So I think kind of a fortunate bounce that we didn't score there at the end of the second period. Barclay Goodrow, 60% face-off circle. Some good performances. Sorelli, a tough 33%. Stamkos, too, he was kind of struggling earlier in the series. 75% for Stamkos. Of course, the big stats that we love looking at in all situations, not just 5-on-5, suggested Carolina with the brunt of the puck possession. Of course, a lot of that being shifted by the last 5 minutes or so of the game, where they possessed the puck for the last 5 minutes of the game. Again, shots pretty even. Throughout. Kind of surprised that the Lightning technically outshot the Hurricanes in the third period. Kind of interesting there. But really, it's the high danger scoring chances that made a big difference. Uh, Lightning just had better quality shots, and I think you felt that. And looking at Twitter and some of the other social media feeds, it really felt that the Lightning were on just a different level, absolute different level. Carolina was just kind of stuck in second gear, and the Lightning looked like a polished championship team. It's that simple. I think Carolina's just not there yet. I think they have some of the core pieces. We might be talking about a different series if Nedeljkovic plays the whole series. Is able to bounce back in game 3, and maybe they win that one. In game 4, maybe doesn't go 6-5, and they were able to take advantage of a bad Vasi night, but whereas it came up 6. So kind of a coulda, shoulda, woulda. Maybe fortunate that we've faced 2 teams with uncertain goaltending issues. That's kind of what we thought about Carolina at the beginning of the season was, I can buy their roster. I just don't think I can buy Peter Mrazek and James Reimer as championship caliber goalies. And it ended up being the kid, Nedeljkovic, jumping in and really carrying them more than halfway through the season. Lightning, of course, 21-9 on the high danger scoring chances. So that really a difference in the game. Their chances sounds simple, much more dangerous looking from higher probability areas on the ice. In terms of game flow, we kind of talked about how halfway through the second is really when the pressure came on, and great kill on the on the penalty kill for the Bolts as Carolina got that tough call against a lot. And the heat map, again, a little bit of pressure here up front, but most of the volume out in the perimeter. That's what you want to see. Kind of keep it simple, stupid, just like basketball. Keep them outside. Lower percentage shots. Key to victory. And again, Lightning just totally committed to the defensive effort. They're locked in. It's a shame that they're probably going to get a week off here, depending how things go right now with that's not true. Maybe they'll let them start early if the other series is done. I know that they were trying to stagger, especially with the Canadian teams. Ironically, the Canadian series is done, even though they started a week later. Canadians playing, of course, the winner of the Avs and the Golden Knights going on right now. Don't know if it's 1-0. I was have it on, but haven't been listening too closely. So yeah, that's the game in a nutshell. And exciting times. Fortunate times. Appreciate it, Lightning. Doing me a solid. Gonna be out of town this weekend, so wasn't gonna be able to dedicate all the time in the world to watch the Bolts. So hopefully we'll be back at it next week. We'll preview I guess they're calling it the Stanley Cup semifinals, is what the announcers have been saying. Instead of the, obviously no conferences this year. So Bolts into the semifinals. They'll play the winner of Boston and the New York Islanders. Could be a matchup against our typical division foes, or a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference final. It's going to be a great matchup either way. Still think we're going to get Lightning Avalanche finally, something that we were robbed of last year, because I think we were on a collision course for Avalanche Lightning until the Avs had some pretty tough injuries. I think we're going to get it this year. It's going to be series for the ages. But we'll see you next time here on Thunderdome Puckcast. Make sure you're following us on our social media, the Sports Moose, at the Sports Moose on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and of course Twitter. Pretty active on there at Sports Moose Show. Tweet at us, subscribe, and we'll add you back as well. That's it for the Thunderdome Puckcast post-game show. Game number 5. Bolts win it in 5. Final score 2-0 with a series victory of 4-1. See you next time. Take care.